right, everybody, what's up? We've just been laughing pre-show because that's what we do here. Guys, this is Before the Hedges, brought to you by Kroger. We have a special guest tonight. That would be, I guess I gotta go by his full titles here. It almost sounds like pro wrestling. We have a state champion defensive tackle. We have a late night pass rush get off champion. We've got Christen Miller, 2022 defensive tackle. Look at him. I mean, like, is it any wonder that he's going to be a theater arts and drama communications major at whatever one of his lucky schools he chooses in about a month? Christen Miller, you're on Before the Hedges. We don't know if you're going to wind up before the hedges or not, but how you doing tonight, man? What's going on?
First of all, I want to say, boy, I'm on TV. Mama, I know you watching. I love you, Mama. Jeff, I want to say I appreciate you for letting me be on the show. Man, I'm feeling great. I'm good.
So you guys got to know Chris. Christian's an All-American. He's committed to the All-American Bowl, which used to be kind of the Adidas game, which everybody still kind of calls it the Adidas game. He's at Cedar Grove. Gosh, there's been so many prospects that have came out of Cedar Grove, and he's set to make his decision on April the 4th. And I wanted you guys to see him because, I mean, this young man is infectious. He radiates joy. He's one of the guys that I talk to on the regular that I'm like, you know, he could be behind the camera one day. He could do whatever he wants. If he was 5'7" and 145 pounds and a long snapper, he could still be an impressive young man. I remember the first time I met him, he literally couldn't treated me any nicer if I was like Bill Gates and I had $150 million I was going to give Cedar Grove High School to build an indoor athletic facility. That's the way he is and the way he treats everybody. I guess we got to talk just a little bit about, because they're going to go, oh, recruiting, blah, blah, blah. Christian, I guess you have a top 4, 5, 6. It seems like it keeps expanding.
Man, it's done. I'm gonna tell y'all, I'll be the first ones to know the tops is done. I got a top 6, and that's final. And I'm gonna let y'all know my top 6. My final top 6 is USC, Georgia, Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia Tech, and Florida. So it kept radiating. It kept going. Everybody making jokes on social media. They're like, well, you come out with a top school every time you get an offer. But nah, it's final though. It's done. It's over with.
You know, Christian, you were one of the guys that everybody else was bugging and stressing about, the dead period got extended and it's 6 more weeks without visits. But you were kind of like, nah, man, I'm good. I'm straight. Why is that? Why has that been so, I guess, peaceful for you?
I'm straight because, you know, I'm worried about the things I need to worry about right now, you know. So we can't go on visits, so we might as well worry about what's going on right now, and that's working out and doing what we're supposed to do in the moment and just doing our jobs and doing what we're supposed to do. But it is stressful for my other fellow athletes out there. But at the same time, I would be lying to you if I said it didn't have a stressful time, but at the same time, it didn't take over me because I knew what God doing. God, he working mysterious ways. I can tell you that for sure. He working mysterious ways, but everything gonna work out how it's supposed to work out. We're just gonna enjoy this. You just gonna enjoy it. That's all.
So Christian comes from a Christian home. That's the main thing I think of when your name pops into my mind. I love the fact that he's choosing April the 4th for a very specific and a very important reason. Christian, tell everybody why you chose April 4th.
I chose April 4th because, first of all, I come from a Christian home. So April 4th was very important to me because it's Easter Day, Resurrection Day. So I want to re-give my life to Christ. You know, I want to do that on that day before I committed. I feel like that was special, and I feel like that was a special day for me and my parents and my family. And because we're going through the calendar and we like, okay, we know the time is right. We know that it done came down to this day. It done came down to we done found that I'm finna commit soon. So I'm looking around like, okay, which day do I want to do? What I'm finna do? And my dad looked at me. He was like, and we both looked at each other. We was like, April 4th, and we had that synced in, and we was like, let's do it. We locked in for that day.
Christian, I guess, you know, the funny things that people just need to know about you is like, I don't know where you guys are going to end up. I don't believe in package deals anymore, especially after what I heard all those recruits in the class of 2021 when they said, oh, it's COVID. I don't know the coaches, so I got to go with those. I got to go with my guys. I got to go play with my guys. And then everybody ended up going in their own direction. And it still worked out. But I can't help but notice you're extremely tight with Tyree West. I think you've known him for some time. That's the Georgia commitment. You're tight with Mikhail Williams, who was on our show a couple of weeks ago, actually. Can you just describe what that bond is like with those two?
Man, first of all, I want to say Tyree was popping, boy. Mikhail, man, you lost, boy. That's all I gotta say. You lost. Take the L. But nah, man, those my boys. I linked up with Tyree. I'm gonna tell stories of how I met each other. I've linked up with Tyree at a camp, and ever since then, we just been close, like really close. And that's my boy. We always talking, always chopping it up with each other. He always saying UGA. Always. I don't never hear the end of it. I kind of like say what he gonna say when we get on the phone. But Mikhail, I met him through his brother, Michael Trigg. Michael Trigg committed to USC. Michael Trigg live in Tampa, and I met Michael Trigg. I met Mikhail through Michael Trigg, but other than that, man, we've been close ever since. Those are both my brothers. We real close, man, for real, we real close.
So I guess this is the reigning, like we said earlier, the reigning late night Chuck Smith Pass Rush Academy get off champion. I think we got video here of, the replays and everything else. But man, you guys needed your own miniseries. I mean, what was that rivalry like going back and forth with Mikhail? I think you guys were split 1-1, and most people thought, oh, Mikhail's so athletic, so twitchy, weighs about 10, 15 pounds less than you. And everybody thought, oh, high rated guy, he's going to win. And you just performed, man. What's that like in that event? And how does that get you going competing against a great guy like that?
Man, it just fuels us. Cause I told him, I'm like, only way we gonna get better if we compete with ourselves. First, we gotta compete with ourselves first, then compete with each other. So I told Mikhail, I'm like, Mikhail, bro, I said, Mikhail, I want you in. Like me and Tyree, we competing too, but me and Mikhail, we go at it. Like, I'm like, bro, we want to be great. I told him we stress each other. We want to be great. We don't want to be mediocre. We top guys, but we still humble and we still want more. And at the same time, I'm like, we gotta, if we gonna be brothers, we gonna be close. We gotta want to get the best out of each other. So we always going at each other's head. But man, I told him what was gonna happen. I said, listen, I'm coming there. And I'm gonna get lit. Hey, speak something into existence is gonna happen. I told him what I was doing. I said, I'm Himothy. I'm him. I'm him.
Christen, a lot of things to get to. I guess right now you're in the stretch run. You're, you got a month until you make your decision. What's that like? How are you getting recruited right now? Is it a bunch of guys trying to get their final pitches in and try to work that relationship a lot over the next 2 or 3 weeks? What's that like right now?
Man, I'm still with the guys I came with. It been a couple of new faces, but it's the whole process been fun. I leave the negative. I put that to the side, and I keep the positive with me. But it's been fun. I've been enjoying it. I've been trying to enjoy it. It's been real fun. But it's been a lot of new faces, a lot of old faces still in here. So a lot of people showing love and still doing what they supposed to. So it's going real smooth.
Christen, I think you've got a few cool things to share. What is it like right now to kind of be, can you just describe what it's like to be recruited by Georgia? What's the communication like with Georgia? What are they stressing with you right now?
Man, Georgia, they growing up, them in Ohio State was my dream schools. But Georgia, man, when I got that offer, it was emotional, bro. I was like, man, I really got this offer. And since day one, Coach Scott made it known to me that, Chris, we need you. Like, Chris, we need you. We love your energy. We love your attitude. We want you to come in here and work. And we know you're going to compete with the guys that you with, Tyree and all of them. So they stress me that they need me, but they treat me like family. Ultimately, they treat me like family. And Coach Scott always sending me voice memos. He always in the group chat with Mikhail and Big Bear and Tyree, and we be talking and we just be enjoying the process. But Coach Kirby and Coach Nick, they always stressing to me that me and Big Bear and Tyree and they expressed to me and Mikhail personally, because me and Mikhail, we not committed nowhere now, so we're not committed nowhere yet. So they stressed to me and Mikhail that we can do something special with Tyree and Big Bear. So they always stressing to us that we can do something special, and I believe we can do something special too.
How in the world, if you guys are all on the same front, how does anybody get blocked? I mean, who do you double? I mean, what? Just the thought. Can you just put into words what it would be like to play with those guys? I mean, nobody's getting a double, or maybe Bear gets a double, or maybe they chip somebody on Mikhail's side. I mean, what would it be like, man, if you guys all end up coming together and play together in college?
Oh my! Like I can describe all four of us. Tyree, feisty, just he just aggressive and feisty. Mikhail, speed rusher, just nasty, using all his moves, doing everything is in his book. Me, I'm a ping pong. I can bounce anywhere from that D line. Anywhere you want me to be, I can bounce anywhere. That athletic. Big Bear, you hear it in his name. That's Big Bear. He gonna run through anything. You double team, triple team, quadruple team, he gonna fight it. He just that nasty, and just having that four right there. Somebody got to put their sunglasses on for that, boy. Dangerous.
So you guys know that you've probably learned in the first 8 seconds of this broadcast that Christen is very charismatic. He is an excellent and engaging communicator. So we're going to have some fun right now. We're going to play a little game called Oscar On and Oscar Off. You improv fans out there will appreciate this. What we're going to do is I'm going to ask him to act like he is being recruited by Georgia. And that would be one of the recruiters at Georgia. And when it's time for him to be, like he's trying to channel his Morgan Freeman and his Denzel, I'm going to say Oscar On. And then you'll see a pretty good impersonation probably. And then when it's time for him to just totally go in the other direction, I'm going to say Oscar Off. So Christen, I want you to imagine, here's a little, you are on the Zoom call with a Georgia recruiter, let's say Coach Scott, the great Coach Scott. Take us through what that looks like right now.
Baby boy. Hey, Big Chris. Hey, we need you at UGA. Hey, we need you. You a dog. Hey, baby boy, you a dog, man. We need you, man. Hey, listen, we need the most trillest D linemen. We need Mikhail. We got
Oscar off.
We got Big Bear. Man, I had a good day today though. Jeff, it's a great day, man. I'm feeling good. I'm doing good. Ultimately.
We installed some defensive fronts. We looked at some game film. I mean, that's how talented he is. And then what are those really like, man? Are they fun? Are you getting this where, well, first people got to know, take us through when you saw the virtual visits, you told me about them. Like you've seen a little bit of the facilities behind the red curtain, behind the velvet rope. Everybody tells me barbershop, like some guys call it a restaurant. What was it like with what Georgia showed you about the facilities they're building?
Man, it was live because I actually did that. I actually did the virtual before it was one game. Gym, I was in there doing while I was ready to go to the basketball game, but we was in there and they was showing me everything, and I was just like, whoa! And they had the barbershop, and I was like, hey, that's lit. And then they showed me the new facility, and I was like, DJ Fat Chris when we turned up in that thing. Hey, I said, hey, I looked at it, I was like, hey. I said that looked good. Like it looked real good. And they put so much money into it. They invested so much money into it for the students, for the student athletes. So I feel like that was very unique. I'm like, man, just investing into us, investing into the student athletes. I thought that was dope. So I was like, yeah, I like that.
Christen, what is it going to be like when you guys finally get to go on visits? Will this be like, kid in a candy store, or will this be like Christmas Day? Will it be like to finally go back on the visit?
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be real. It's gonna be real fun. We get to be with my guys and get to meet new faces. It's always good meeting new people, branching out, getting connections. But it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have fun because we only get this one time, so you got to get a chance to enjoy it. Because a lot of people haven't went on no visits yet. So I hope and pray that God gives us a chance to go on some visits because there's a lot of kids out here that want to go on some visits and have a little fun. But it's gonna be fun. I can tell you that.
How were you able to put your decision together without those visits? Are you relying on the visits you took before the pandemic went down? What's the backbone of your decision as you put it together?
It was a little bit of everything, just putting my hand, dipping, dabbing in each area of a lot of stuff. But really, it had to do with just faith. No, you got to have faith. And I can go to Ohio State 6 times, but you got to have faith for is it right. So I had to have faith in my decision and have faith in myself and think about, okay, I'm gonna go with this. I trust this God. God want me to do this, and it was just a matter of having faith, and that faith led me to a great decision.
What would you say? How would you describe what you're looking for if you had to figure out what's going to decide it for you? What are you looking for in your college fit?
First of all, academics. Football is my first love, but I know and they're gonna always be here. You know, you got to have something that you can rely on. You got to have something that you got to be able to change the narrative. You know, because us young athletes, because I know I used to think like this too. Us young athletes always, okay, football, football, football. But what about football? What about what you want to do in your degree? What about, so, you know, you got to change the narrative on how you think. And I feel like academics is very important. Like it didn't start out like that for me. I can't sit up here and academics did that because, you know, growing up, I never had bad grades, but I never had the grades that I wanted to have because just the amount of work that I put towards it. But just going to college, I feel like it's going to help me even more get better in my academics and just learn a lot of new things and being surrounded by the best teachers in the world. But academics is definitely number one. Number two is scenery. You know, Chris, I gotta be able to throw the shades on. I gotta be able to lay back, chill, have the Crocs on. Just scenery is amazing to be able to see like what you living around, on the views, how the vibe. Like I'm big on vibes. You know, I'm all about vibes. The vibe got to be there. It got to be there. Vibe definitely got to be there.
Christian, what schools have you visited?
I visit Ohio State. I visited Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee, and Georgia Tech.
How are those visits the same, and how are those different? Does everybody have their own different flavor?
It's like everybody bring their own little sauce. And that's what separates a lot of schools from that's what separates a lot of schools. People might think they're the same, but nah, everybody had their own little sauce. Trust me, everybody had their own little sauce on how they did things. So yeah.
Christian, I know all the coaches that recruit, they've told me for a long time that they said there's two things that a player can tell them. They can say, Coach, you got a shot. I'm really digging your school. Or you can say, Coach, I'm not going to go to your school, even if you were the greatest salesman in the world. And either one of those responses do two things. It tells them that they need to dig in their heels and recruit you, or they need to spend their time somewhere else. For you, how do you let a school know they got a shot? And how do you let a school know that you're probably not going to be a good fit with what you're looking for at their school? How do you do that in a kind of classy way?
Yeah, I'm glad you said classy way because you know, I grew up. My parents taught me well, and if I got a good relationship with a coach and that's not a good fit for me, I'm gonna give him a call. I'm gonna let him know, like, Coach, I'm gonna always be able to talk to you and always be able to chop it up with you. But this is not the best route for me. But I appreciate you everything you did for me, and he gonna respect me even more. But if I didn't have a relationship with the school already, and they hit me up here and there and there and there, and they didn't really call me like that, it's really ain't no reason really to reach out because they already know how I'm feeling. But if I got a relationship and I done talk with the coach a lot of times, I'm gonna reach out and let them know, especially on my commitment day. I'm gonna make sure I reach out to all the schools that I'm not going to, and just let them know I appreciate everything they did for me because that's just a respect thing. Because I built a lot of relationships, a lot of good relationships with a lot of good coaches through this whole process. So, you know, that's what I can say.
How do they try to figure it out? Like, are they like hitting you up saying, "Hey, man, we in the top 3, we get a top 2. Who are we against?" I mean, how do the coaches try? You don't have to drop names in here, school names, but are they trying to figure you out too? And they want to know, like, I've heard some kids tell me that the coaches want to know, "Hey, you're the school, but it's going to wait." Or then they're like, "Man, it's close. It's really, really close." How do you handle that? Do they ever ask you like, "Hey, man, how you feeling? How you feeling?"
Man, they know how I am, man. They just go with the vibe. They don't really press me. They don't press me about nothing. They just go with the vibe. They just go with how I am. You know, I call the schools almost every other day or every day and talk to them all day, chop it up with them. But yeah, they just go with the vibe. They be vibing. They don't press me about it. They do not press me about it.
Christen, do you know the answer? Have you figured it out in your head and you're just waiting for the celebration day, or how contested is your decision right now?
It's like I know, but I'm still just going with the flow. But I think I got my mind made up, and by the time April 4th come, we're gonna be lit. We're gonna be live. We're gonna be having some fun.
Christian, I'm not going to put you on any hot seat with any questions, but I think the natural question would be, if Mikhail goes a certain way on March the 15th, how big of a factor is that where he's going? People can say, I'm going to do my own thing. That's what I am. I got to make my decision for me. I just sense that you have a really close bond with Mikhail. I think he might be one of your 5 best friends in the world. How much will his decision influence yours, or are you guys going to figure this out before anybody's decision is made and kind of know where you guys are going beforehand?
We both kind of figuring out together right now, but at the same time, like I told him, you got the Aziz Ojolari brothers. They don't go to the same school, but they brothers. They still talk to each other all the time. So I told him, I said, at the same time, you got to do what's best for you and your family, and what's best for you. Like, if Mikhail go here and I go somewhere else, we still gonna be tapped in. And if we got to play each other, we ain't gonna talk to each other that whole week. And I'm gonna call him after the game and let him know my team just whipped your team. But at the same time, we gonna always stay tapped in. Like, if you brothers, and that's forever. So, I told him he gotta, wherever he go. If we don't go to the same school, go be great. Go be great.
Christian, are you gonna take any low key, down low, self-guided, no contact visits before you make your decision? Are you gonna go check out that school anymore? Are you gonna make a road trip?
I took a couple. And I'm gonna take one more before I commit.
Christian, I want to make sure everybody saw the crown. Everybody get the screenshots. You've worn the crown already, right? You got the crown on. You got the late night Chuck Smith late night. That was hard earned because Tyree West going to Georgia. You have Mikhail Williams, top 60, top 50 player. Christen Miller, top 160 player right now, and still rising up those charts. Grant Godfrey, I think Randall Godfrey's son, is an amazing player out of North Gwinnett. He's a 2023 guy.
He's gonna be up next. I like him. And I didn't, when I heard he was in 10th grade going to 11th grade, I was like, whoa. I was like, oh my. Crazy.
There's a couple of guys that I would call them, they're all on their way to college. Presbyterian.
And I was there with Malachi Madison. He climbed up the charts for real.
Got like 20, 35 offers right now.
I know.
Christian, one thing I want to ask you, and I always want to let people know the names of the next. I don't know if you're going to disagree with me. You might, but your region coaches voted your cornerback, Kayan Lee. Kayan Lee is the region defensive player of the year for the past year. He's a 2023 corner. Now, I'm going to say this, and I've been around Cedar Grove football a long time. Jaden Hazelwood, Notori, Antoine, guys like that. I mean, Kayan could be as good as anybody on defense that I've ever seen play for the Grove, man. What do you think about that guy? Do you hold him in that high regard? What kind of player is he? 2023 cornerback who told me that the Georgia offer to him was a pretty amazing offer.
Oh man, like I know defense wise, I'm probably like one of the biggest to come out of Cedar Grove defense wise, but he gonna be the best. He gonna be the best to ever come out of Cedar Grove. And that's my opinion. That kid, first of all, he works so hard for everything he wants. He's so humble. I'm always playing with him, always bullying with him, always talking to him. We call each other almost all the time. But he loved God. That kid he loved God. And we call each other to read scriptures together, pray together, stuff like that. He loved God. And I love his faith. And I love the way he walked. I love the way he walked with God. I love the way he carried himself on and off the field. But that kid, when I tell you, that kid is probably one of the best corners in his class, because his class got some good corners. He got some great corners, and I give my hats off to all of them guys. But he gonna finish. He gonna finish. He gonna be a 5-star. That's how I think about it. Because Kane is he's that nice. He's that nice. And he don't get.
What do you think makes him special? What do you think makes Kane special? What's his game?
He's a quiet beast. Kane will do you bad, get an interception, and won't say a word. He'll get hyped, won't say a word. He's a quiet beast. And what makes him special is he's a better person off the field. You know what I'm saying? And he's a great kid off the field. And I love that kid. I love that kid. I love the way he carries himself. And that's number one. I try to give him advice all the time about how you do things. I dap him up before practice and tell him, let's go. Let's have some energy today. Let's be a leader. But yeah, I'm more excited to see where he going than my kid. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for that.
See, that's one thing I love about players, even Cedar Grove players, man. They don't care. They don't care if everybody's got a plate. They want to see everybody eat, and that's You know, it's really nice when you can hear a player give so much respect to another player that they play with, kind of the way Mr. Lee has certainly deserved it. Christian, there you are. There you are. Getting it back right. Christian, well, and that's a name I wanted you guys to know, because when we start doing the 2023 list of the baddest men in the state of Georgia, the top targets for any school, Mr. Lee is definitely going to be on that list. Christen Miller, man, don't want to keep you all day. You're going to take over my show probably eventually, man. But guys, this is Christen Miller. I wanted you to get to know him before he makes his decision. It's on April the 4th. Got a few weeks. So much charisma, so much fun to hang around. We had our first Oscar on, Oscar off. We had the first, this is probably going to be a clip. We're going to make a clip out of this. We had the first Travion Scott recruit impersonation on our Before the Hedges. We call this Before the Hedges, of course, because that's where we talk to players before they may or may not wind up between the hedges at the University of Georgia. Christen Miller, one of my favorite dudes in the class, one of my fun dudes, really joyous person to be around. Look at that, all that energy. Can you imagine being in the huddle with him? Can you imagine playing with him in your defensive line room? It would be a lot of fun.
Hey, fun, man.
Christen Miller.
Hats off to you. Appreciate you, Joe. You know, you're always welcome. You want to stop by to the crib, get you a plate, you're always welcome. Just let me know, man. Hey, much love. Thank y'all.
Take it easy, Christian. That's Christen Miller. I know you guys are now big fans after getting a chance to hang out with him. And big time class of 2022 recruit. I think the dream defensive line that Georgia could put together would be Tyree West. He had a good story about Tyree. Big Bear Alexander. Interesting to hear that those guys are already on group chats together. Then you have Mikhail Williams. Very interesting class that Georgia could put together potentially with Mr. West and Mr. Alexander. Those are already two top 80 prospects in the country. Mikhail Williams is a top 40 prospect. I think Mikhail will eventually end up a 5-star. I think Bear Alexander will be a composite 5-star as well. That was a good chance to get to know Christen Miller out of Cedar Grove High School. Hope you guys enjoy that conversation. And I don't know, things go a certain way a couple weeks down the road. Maybe I know Christian will be great to have on if he does end up choosing to commit to the University of Georgia or Southern Cal or Indiana or Ohio State. You mentioned Florida, you mentioned Georgia Tech. So, a lot of big schools there for Christen Miller. It's easy to see how you hang around that guy for a little bit. And that's certainly the type of guy that a lot of these big time programs would want to see in their culture and in their locker rooms for sure. I'm Jeff Sintel. This is Before the Hedges, brought to you by Kroger. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on SoundCloud. You can find us on the Apple Podcast platform. Hope you're enjoying our show so far. If you got a question, please let me see those questions in the feed so I can make sure I get some of those questions. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Let me know. I haven't done this in a while. Let me know where you guys are watching from tonight. Let me know how things are going, but especially where you're watching from tonight. I always like to see who all is paying attention and where everybody's from in the chat, so we can all feel like we're in my living room together all the time. So appreciate that. As always, our show is brought to you by Kroger. Kroger, this is what I always call the halftime of our show. We had a good conversation with a very important recruit in the class of 2022. And now's the time to hear a special message from Brandon Adams, and Kroger.
We'll get back to the show in just a moment, but first, a quick word from Kroger. Kroger has made shopping for the groceries and household essential items that you need even easier by offering free pickup. Just shop online, choose a pickup time convenient for you, and Kroger will carefully pick out your order and bring it to your vehicle when you arrive. So the next time you're ready to shop at Kroger, take advantage of the free pickup. It's just another way that Kroger is fresh for everyone.
So yeah, you know why Kroger is fresh for everyone? Well, that's why we've got a fresh version 3.1 top targets list. Got some new names. We've extended it out to 13 names for the class of 2022. And let's start with a familiar name and a familiar face. We've moved Christen Miller, Christen. That might be a typo, but Christen Miller out of Cedar Grove in Ellenwood, Georgia. He's a new guy. He's our number 13 on our top targets list. Number 12, a guy that's fallen a little bit over the last couple of weeks. That's 4-star wide receiver Brennan Thompson out of Spearman, Texas. There's a lot of receivers now to get to in this class. You got to wonder, like Kevin Coleman's a name. Antonio Williams, Samuel Mbake. Lots of names to think about, along with some names you'll see later on in the top targets, but also some other big names to know to think about. Brennan Thompson is number 12. Number 11, you guys got to read all about him, I believe, on Monday night on DogNation.com. That's Tyler Booker out of IMG Academy. The first big school to recruit Tyler Booker when he was up in Connecticut at Bergen Catholic was actually Georgia and Trey Scott. Lots of interesting things he said there. Did you guys see the story? Did you guys see what he said about Gunnar Stockton and how big of an impact Gunnar Stockton could ultimately have on his decision? Those two have a history. And he very much said that he thought Gunnar Stockton was the guy to get it done at Georgia to win a national championship. He thought a player like Gunnar Stockton would eventually be the guy that seals the deal. If JT Daniels doesn't do it, if Brock Vandegrift doesn't do it, that guy would be the guy to he thinks Gunnar Stockton, he's a huge fan. Tyler Booker, I think really for me right now, that's the highest rated offensive lineman that Georgia can sign in this cycle. Out of IMG Academy, really connected to a lot of guys that you guys saw in the story. Warren Brinson, you've got Marlon Dean, you've got Lavassier Carroll, you've got Xavier Sorey Jr. A lot of guys, really strong connections there for him in the class. And he's also got a connection to Gunnar already as well. Traquan Fegans out of Oxford, Alabama. He's number 10 on the list this week. Number 9 is Daniel Martin out of Marietta, Georgia. Very impressive, multi-purpose athlete. I call him one of those chess pieces, and that would be the queen on the chessboard. Daniel Martin's a guy that can make a lot of havoc take place in a lot of different directions. He's out of Marietta High School, plays for the Hustle Inc. team. You see him making a lot of plays in 7-on-7. He's been that way for Hustle Inc. for a couple of seasons now. Number 8. Now, you're seeing some guys make some moves this week in our top targets list. Number 8 is Oscar Delp out of West Forsyth in Cumming, Georgia. Recently got re-rated up to the nation's number 1 tight end in the country. Recently dropped his top 13. I think he dropped that last week. Huge name for Georgia. Delp has been the number 1 target at tight end for Georgia for forever, basically since last September, October, when he really exploded at the start of his junior season. Number 7, this is a guy that's moving up, in my opinion, Jeremiah Alexander out of Thompson, Alabaster, Alabama. I think he's a defensive end or a linebacker. I think he could play inside or outside. The skinny on Jeremiah depends on how much he grows, whether he's a true traditional edge player, whether he plays with his hand off the ground. Really like his game. Lots of motor plays. He's a 2-time state champion at the highest classification in Alabama. Number 6 is Emmanuel Henderson. Now that decision is coming on March the 13th. You would have to think that Georgia, Alabama, and Auburn are the teams to look at there. That's a 5-star running back out of Geneva County in Hartford, Alabama. Recently dropped to the nation's number 2 running back prospect. Number 5 this week is Jalen Walker out of Salisbury, North Carolina. So many impressive things about Jalen. We wrote about him yesterday on DogNation.com. Was very interesting to hear his thoughts on his final 6. Certainly has a lot of good feelings for North Carolina and Clemson, but I also feel he has a lot of good feelings there for Georgia as well. He didn't officially name his top 3, but he told me that he's really down to 3 guys out of the 3 schools out of that final 6. He's really looking at 3 schools right now. He does not know his final decision as of yet. I thought it was very interesting when I think I mentioned this on the forum.dognation.com, that when I got the chance to visit with him, when the subject of Georgia came up, Jalen Walker basically said, "Oh yeah," like when I'm getting the question out, he said, "Oh yeah," a couple of times with Georgia. Loves the defensive reputation with guys like Lanning and Schumann. Kirby Smart is the defensive-minded head coach. That means something to him. I take him at his word for that because his father was a linebacker and now is a head coach, a defensive-minded head coach at Catawba College. That's a D2 school in Salisbury, North Carolina. Jalen is actually playing his junior season this spring for Salisbury as well. He's going to make his decision on March the 28th. Another fast riser in my book is Kojo Antwi out of Lambert, Suwanee, Georgia. Kojo, I think, is now all the way up to the nation's number 13 wide receiver. Can you believe that? really fast. He looked like he was ready to roll. The last weekend in Myrtle Beach, played some very good 7-on-7 ball for Hustle Inc. as well. A lot of Hustle Inc. guys. There's a couple more Hustle Inc. guys we'll know. Oscar Delp is a Hustle Inc. guy. That's the 7-on-7 outfit. Very well respected 7-on-7 outfit led by Tony Ballard in the Metro Atlanta area. Number 3, Branson Robinson out of Germantown. That's in Madison, Mississippi. Germantown guys basically has the same logo and the same colors as the University of Georgia. I find that very intriguing regarding his recruitment. Number 2, Mikhail Williams. We heard him mentioned a lot from Christen Miller early in our program. Christen Miller was our guest for the first half of our show. Then, guys, I hope you saw the story. The number 1 guy on the top targets this week is Malachi Starks out of Jefferson, Georgia. I was finally able to collect everything I've learned about Malachi Starks and share it with you guys. If you guys haven't read it yet, please take the time to do so. I know I write these long, involved, long-form, deep dive features, but that one was something I took a lot of time in, and I wanted to make sure I got it right. If you haven't read it yet, please try to take the time to do so, just so you can see exactly why Malachi Starks is going to be the number 1 top target on this list until he makes his decision. And I do think that that's not going to be too far off in the future. Malachi Starks, for everybody that's read it, I want to thank everybody that's read it so far. I've gotten a lot of emails. I've gotten a lot of notifications on social media. Thanks for reading it. I know nobody has the time to read a long story like that, except for a long story like that I really try to put together and reflect kind of the best things that I've picked up in my reporting about Malachi Starks out of Jefferson, Georgia. Other big names to know. Let's go through a lot of them. Jordan Lockdown Allen. Some news there on Jordan Lockdown Allen. Really love this guy out of Louisiana. LSU was never offered. That's something a lot of you guys are wondering about. I'll be writing about him soon on Dog Nation, but Lockdown has now backed off his commitment date. I think he had his commitment date set for March 13th. He's going to back that up a little bit. Not totally ready to make his commitment known as of this time. Marcus Allen, a very talented cornerback out of Walton High School. When you look at Jordan Lockdown Allen, he's actually picked up his 4th star. He's rated as a safety, but he will be a cornerback with the lucky program that gets to sign him. Emory Floyd, that's the speedy safety. Ferrari Floyd out of Hillgrove and Powder Springs. Jacob Hood, the 6'8" offensive tackle out of Nashville, Tennessee, and Hillsboro. Jordan James, I think there's a lot of running backs at the top level. There's probably 3 or 4 names at the top level to take a look at. Jordan James definitely belongs there, along with Mr. Robinson, who's our number 3 top target. Number 5, let me see, going through some names. Jordan James. Addison Nichols, really love this young man and his character and everything he stands for. He's an Eagle Scout out of Greater Atlanta Christian. Sam Mbake, got another guy out of Brookwood, Snellville, Georgia. Been a name to know. He's an All-American, a name to know for Georgia in this 2022 class for some time. 5-star Sean Murphy is out of Unity Reed High School in Manassas, Virginia. Do think Georgia has done some solid recruiting work there with Sean Murphy. Another Hustle Inc. guy is Denylon Morissette out of Brookwood. Another Snellville guy. Denylon is very closely linked to Gunnar Stockton. Those guys have been playing together forever. You guys hear me say some of these same things every week about Denylon. Something I also want to share about Denylon is a long time considered an Alabama. Alabama was kind of the school to beat for him. And now I don't think that's the case. I think his decision is much more contested. 3-star safety Jake Pope out of Buford. He just continues to pick up big offers from the likes of Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia. Recently named a 3-star prospect. He recently dropped his top 13 or 14, I believe. Thing to know there with Jake Pope would be to watch if Clemson ever offers. Jake Pope's father did play at Clemson, so we would be a legacy Clemson recruit. A couple guys to get through. Keon Sabb recently moved to IMG Academy. Nation's number 2 safety, I believe, in the composite. Quayshawn Sapp out of Lee County. That's another guy. He's down to a top 8 now at this time. South Georgia, I think he's a very versatile offensive lineman. Shamar Stewart's out of Opelika, Florida. Tevin White, North Stafford, Virginia. Some folks have actually crystal balled Tevin White to Georgia already. A new name for the list this week. The last two names are new. Is Antonio Williams out of Dutch Fork in Irmo, South Carolina. That's a kid, a big-time receiver in my book, out of speed receiver, game breaker type receiver out of Irmo, South Carolina. And the last name on the list is Kamari Wilson out of IMG Academy. He was at IMG last year. We'll have an interesting edit to share with you guys during our online chatter part as well. A few more things to share. Timelines for major prospects. I want you guys to see this. You've got Christen Miller, April 4th. We had him earlier on in our show. May 7th is three-star safety Emory Floyd. March 28th, Jalen Walker. March 15th, March 13th. So, guys, it's really kind of going to be the next month of the recruiting cycle. You'll see a lot of dominoes start to fall, especially for those that follow the University of Georgia's football program. Recruiting breakdown. I want to show you guys this. Currently, Georgia only has one guy committed in the class on offense. That's Gunnar Stockton. 7 guys defensively, 7 in-state, 1 out-of-state. The only one out-of-state would be Big Bear Alexander. Hope you guys remember that interview we had with him last week. Finally, if you didn't get a chance to see Big Bear Alexander, guys, what are you waiting for? I mean, Before the Hedges doesn't get much better than that. 2 5-star commitments, Gunnar Stockton and Dayon Bowie. Those guys are also the 2 top 50 commitments. There are 5 top 100 commitments. That's Tyree West, Bear Alexander, Marquise Groves-Killebrew. Marquise continues to recruit heavily for the University of Georgia, although Auburn does want to come after him right now. I still think he is a very solid recruit for Georgia. C.J. Washington would be the other top 150 commit. All 8 of those commitments right now are in the SEC footprint. Interesting things always looking on for that right there. Let me see if I can check some before we go through our online chatter for the week. I want to go through, make sure I can check some comments. How are you doing tonight, YouTube? Did you guys like Christen Miller? Wasn't that funny when he did the impersonation of Trey Scott? Wasn't that was very, very funny, I thought. Rhett Womack, how are you guys? Thomas, Christy, Noah Sheldon would love to get Kamari Wilson. Michael Porter knows the name Antonio Williams already. Let me see. Rhett Womack wants to know chances Georgia lands Antonio Williams. Rhett, you're probably not going to like the answer, but I think Georgia's got a little bit of work to do, but I think it's work that can be accomplished. I just think Georgia's got to show the offense and show them show any receiver what they need to see, what they're looking to see for that as well. One of the things I'm kind of trying to keep up with that. We were going through. It was funny before the show. I was talking to Christian, and his favorite TV show. I guess we kind of have that in common. My favorite TV show would probably either be The Wire or Friday Night Lights. Those two. Everybody knows The Wire. If you hadn't got The Wire yet, you haven't watched The Wire yet on HBO Max, please do so. You will be. I'll if you don't like it. This is one of those shows I would say I would bet a dinner with one of my buddies if they don't like it, if they start watching it. The Wire is so good. Another story, but the one that the Christian I was talking about was Friday Night Lights, the classic show on NBC. Just a great show. He loved it. Christian, before he came up with the idea to do a monologue for what it sounds like Travion Scott, did you see him doing that Travion Scott monologue where he's bobbing his head? I thought that was really cool. But before that, he was going to do a monologue from Friday Night Lights, it sounded like, or another thing that he just kind of created on his own. That's how clever and talented Christen Miller is. Speaking of shows, I hope you guys have started watching Ted Lasso, by the way, too. That's another good one that was recommended to me, and it was a very good referral there. Let me see. YouTube. I want to show you guys, everybody on YouTube and Facebook, this. You guys will get a kick out of this. You will see. You guys will see kind of our online chatter for this week. Sorry, I got a couple things going on in my ears right now, but I want to show you a few things. I think the first one is look at this edit from this guy. I don't know if there's probably a lot of backs that Georgia would take, and I think there's a group of about Katron Allen needs to be in that group of about 4 or 5 names that I think Georgia would take. Katron's good enough where he's actually was the 1A and 1B back with Lavassier Carroll the last 2 seasons at IMG Academy. Katron's back for another season. Love that name. His nickname is Fat Man. So look at this edit right here. I think I don't know how Georgia's digital graphics team could be any hotter than they are right now. It seems like they're knocking out 500-foot home runs every time they get around Photoshop. They start crafting and putting these things together. But look at this one from Katron Allen. Fat Man, you see that? His nickname is Fat Man. They put the F on his jersey with the Superman sigil there. Really clever there. And while I'm on the subject, I want you to see the one from Kamari Wilson. Remember we mentioned him and the other big names to know for this class. Georgia's talking to him. He's a 5-star safety on some services. Look at this clever edit right here. Kamari Wilson. You see how they they shaded Georgia's colors into that normal IMG blue look. Now they've got a red slant to it. And look at all the guys that they put in front of him. Xavier Sorey, Marlon Dean, Lavassier Carroll already, Nolan Smith, all those IMG Bulldogs in that pipeline. I think it was pretty cool to show him that. I want to show you, this is the commitment date announcement edit from Jalen Walker, outside linebacker. I think he can be an inside or outside linebacker. I thought it was very interesting in that story when we talked to Jalen Walker this week that Clemson sees him as an Isaiah Simmons linebacker hybrid, but he said Georgia's the only program that haven't defined him as a position. And he likes that. He thinks he would play all over, inside, outside. He would stay on the field for 3 downs, kind of like Roquan Smith did, kind of like Nakobe Dean does now for Georgia, because those gentlemen have such great and rich athletic ability that Jalen Walker, they feel he can do that as well. Jalen just turned 17, got that big bunny hops. He's a slam dunk champion, dunk contest champion. He's a great basketball player as well. Now, I know you guys, we cannot do it before the hedges where we speak the name Branson Robinson enough. But look at this powerlifting champion here. I think he's a 2-time powerlifting champion right now. This is a tweet from Germantown Powerlifting. And this is Branson Robinson out of Mississippi. He set region records with all 3 lifts in total. A 615-pound squat, 345-pound bench, deadlift of 700 in total. That's over 1,660 pounds, actually, specifically for those 3 lifts. You want to talk about a 1,600-pound club on 3 lifts? That's certainly Nick Chubb territory right there. You look at him, he looks like a walking muscle. I think of the old school Bob Hope line, where I think he used that line for Herschel Walker way back in the day for some sort of All-American team. I remember watching that when I was a wee lad. But he said that Herschel has muscles in places where I don't even have places, and that was a good line. You look at Branson Robinson, the eyeball test for him, he literally looks like he's made out of vibranium to me. That was an interesting I don't know how a running back can get any stronger and more impressive in the 2022 class to me than that. Let's look at this retweet or quote tweet here from Jeremiah Alexander. Jeremiah was actually in the building, the 5-star defensive end out of Alabama, former Alabama commitment. He shared his thoughts on being in the building. You had to be there. Jeremiah Alexander was there for the Georgia Notre Dame game. What a great moment for Georgia recruiting that was. Couple of other, I think I've got one more edit to show you guys, and this is one from Xavier Wamka out of Iowa. And I'm showing you this because Georgia just offered him. I think he's in the 30s for his offer. But the things that stand out to me is this is the nation's #1 safety for 24/7 Sports, number 14 overall prospect. But the young man is from Iowa. You guys know how long I've been covering Georgia recruiting by now. Been a long time since Georgia offered somebody out of Iowa. Lots of schools are in on him. Clemson's in on him. Ohio State has been on him. I've learned that Ohio State has kind of prioritized Xavier as the top safety and the number one safety going back to last summer. So it'll always be hard to beat a school like Ohio State there when they had the head start and they have such a great program and tradition and everything else in their own right as well. That, my friends, was the online chatter for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys got a chance to enjoy. Christen Miller tonight. You guys have any questions? You guys got anything that you want to learn about? Please. I'm going to go to Facebook right now. I'm going to answer. At least. Jacob O'Neill's laughing at me. I had a slip for $1,600. Jerry Swafford calls him a corn-fed man. Joel Moody, man, how are you, man? I hope you have enjoyed your Robin Hood practice this week. Yeah, great deer hunting in Iowa. Johnny Webster, man, it'd be fun to play 18. That's one of the things I liked when we used to get together for Dog Nation days of summer and all of our meet and greets. And I think maybe we can say we're at the beginning of the end of the pandemic. Certainly hope so. It was fun getting to play with some Dog Nation fans and Dog Nation viewers, a couple of courses in North Georgia. It was fun getting to hang out and enjoy some fellowship with everybody. Steve Rogers. I think right now, barring any setbacks, you see the things that are happening. Alabama's announcing there's conference calls right now you read about that where the SEC is talking about full stadiums for this fall. There would be no restrictions in in-person classes this fall, especially as the vaccine rollout continues. I don't want to jinx it, but it certainly feels to me like everything's starting to fall into place where maybe we can get those fall Saturdays in Athens and everywhere around the SEC like they used to be. I know for a fact that I will never, ever take that for granted again. Being on the sidelines, shooting the game, watching the game, covering the game, being inside that stadium for some special moments, being on the road in the SEC, I will never, ever take that for granted again. And I'm sure that everybody on this feed can certainly say the same. What'd you guys think about Christen Miller? So much charisma. Now, I want you guys to make sure, like everybody might think, might be a little too old school. You might see the shades and you might see him kick back. Man, that is one of the most down low, cool, respectful. He looks you in the eye. He's one of those kids that I keep saying kids, but he's one of those young men. I mean, the guy's 6'5", 275 pounds. He's one of those young men that, for me, I get the chance to interact with them. And of course, we got to write stories and we got to bring coverage and everything else. But he really makes my job. Guys like Christen Miller make my job a blessing and a whole lot of fun to be able to interact with guys like that every day and to share their stories. Just a joyful, spiritual dude, Christen Miller. So I'm glad you guys had a chance to get to know him. So now you guys will have a little bit more of a rooting interest, hoping that he could potentially choose Georgia on April the 4th. And if he was to do that, I'll make sure we can bring him back on to chop up the nuts and bolts of how his decision all came together. If he decided to choose the University of Georgia down the line. Yeah, Joel Moody, you're right. Yeah, he got to get him to loosen up a little bit. So much personality from my guy. And you should see him and Mikhail Williams together. Those guys are notorious. They're lethal. They keep calling each other Himothy. They go back and forth. They say they got 5 140s. They say they're the smallest kid in the picture online when they get at each other on social media. Those guys love to compete with one another. It's genuine and it's real. And I think Georgia would be very, 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 very well served if they somehow find a way to recruit both of those guys in there. Jeremy Barbary, thanks for taking the time to say that. Christy's got some emojis in there tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed Before the Hedges. Yeah, and so P. Rich, this is interesting because P. Rich brings a viewpoint that's not. It's really not combustible. I mean, there's some merit to it. P. Rich says he watched every game, and he thought that Fat Man Allen was even better than the remarkable Lavassier Carroll in every game he watched. He said P. Rich feels that Allen and Branson Robinson would be the best duo in the country. Allen's played everybody, and I think Allen went over 1,000 as a sophomore, and Fat Man went over 1,000 as a junior at IMG, and IMG claimed the mythical national title this year. And somehow now it dawns on me that you got Christen Miller, who's his handle is Fat. If you see him on Instagram or whatever, Fat Chris or Chris Fat. It's funny how guys have different avatars for different social media platforms, but you got him who in my mind I know is Fat Chris, and then you got Fat Man. So we've got an abundance of body fat and abundance of nickname game revolving around the word fat tonight. Guys, I think that's a night. I know you guys have things to get to. I know I got bunches of stories to write on dognation.com. I want to thank Christen Miller for joining us today. Shout out to him, always bringing great spirit, a great vibe, great energy, just a great representation of himself. I'll never forget the first time I met Christen. I walked away like, if I had a Fortune 500 company, if I worked for Apple and Apple had the chance and I was hiring for Apple, that's the kind of guy I want on my team. That's the kind of guy I want in any organization. A kid like Christen Miller. And, in a lot of ways, he reminds me of Antoine Jackson, who ended up choosing Auburn, and then he ended up choosing Ohio State. Ohio State is another one of those contenders for Christen Miller, but just those personalities where they're going to be successful in life, no matter what route they choose, no matter where God leads them, and no matter where they wind up. They're just got that energy, that spirit that will allow them to be successful in whatever they do. And, Christian's the kind of guy that wouldn't surprise me, has a great career in college, maybe picks up a ring, maybe wins, maybe earns All-American honors one year, maybe goes and plays 7 or 8 years in the league. And then it goes on and maybe changes it up like a Michael Strahan type guy. If you guys want to wonder, if athletes have the ability to be that commanding and have that presence and be that entertaining, you can already see reflections of something like that in Christen Miller, certainly. And that is that, guys. I want to say thanks for joining us. Thanks again to Kroger for being such a great partner for 5 years on Before the Hedges. So thankful for that partnership we have with Kroger. You guys, next time you're driving around and you need to make a decision about where to go fill that cart up, think about our fine friends at Kroger and everything they do to make sure nobody goes hungry in Atlanta and in the Southeast and in our country. With the services and the goods and the everything they provide. You can find this, guys, on the Apple Podcast platform. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on SoundCloud. Let me make sure I get SoundCloud in there as well. You guys have Brandon Adams tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., Dog Nation Daily. Look for a cover 4, actual cover 4 with all 4 of us again tomorrow night. What do you guys think we should talk about tomorrow night? You guys always would look for Good Day UGA with Connor Riley in the morning. On the Beat with Mike Griffith shows up every Monday. What about his show this week? Did you guys get to see Mike Griffith hanging out with Eric Stokes? What a treat that was for him to be able to visit and bring you a conversation with Eric Stokes. It's kind of funny when I watch Mike's show on Mondays and I see kind of like the graduation or the guys that have vectored away from the University of Georgia. Kind of comes full circle because I remember talking to them, got those guys, having guys like Eric Stokes and others on our Before the Hedges program already like 4 or 5 years ago. Hope you guys enjoy yourself. Hope you guys have a great evening and a great rest of the week. I'm Jeff Sintel for everybody here on Dog Nation. My man Michael Carvel behind the glass producing the show, popping up all those graphics and all those highlights of Christen Miller during our conversation. I want to say thanks to Michael for his efforts and his help and his professionalism every week. I'm Jeff Sintel. We'll see you guys later on the pages of dognation.com. God bless you, everybody.